Laughing that hard, veins found new shape in my neck. Must have pulled one, being on such top form. Must have turned them taut, making me smile like that, only with good friends. We get raucous, see? Make trees, make leaves shudder as though we were autumn. As though we brought paint to make green go gold and drop texture and scripture of oncoming cold when we left. I lost my phone somewhere, and it reminded me of losing you. I went back to where I laughed to see the residue sticky in its morning light, back to where I trod, weightless feet of froth swimming in this concrete, to see if ocean depths would reveal it, or you, perhaps. I looked at strangers with loss stricken as lightning and asked of them silently to give up to me that which they had found, that which they had close to them, those tiny parts of them that you share. I would have them. I pleaded for them in utterances of unsweetened air, and neither you nor my phone appeared. I lost my phone somewhere, and it reminded me of losing you. I never feel more alive than when I am writing to you. I never feel more alive than when I am writing to you. I am urged to show signs of all that I want to be, to bend space and show how I can fold into even neater shapes, to rest in your geometry. Your jagged lines and perfect corners. I would make myself a diamond iris and piano keys for fingers, lips of open books and toes that tread in grids. I would turn this flesh to Arabesque, simply to write to you again. This is yesterday's poem. I never feel more alive than when I am writing to you yesterday. This is yesterday's poem. And tonight I can be your harlot. And in the morning, will I be your harlot still? Yes. In the morning you can dance the aching plains of my body, the acres of my happiness that have lain forsaken and unfed. In the morning you can dance, and I, your harlot, shall lay for you. Tonight I will be your confidant. And in the morning will I be your confidant again? Yes. In the morning I will perch, nuzzle the beak of me into your neck and listen to where the words come from before the air and the unblinking light of the world take them. In the morning I will perch, and I, your confidant, shall hear you. Tonight I will be your very marrow. And in the morning will I be your marrow still? Yes. Yes. In the morning, we may find essences of each other, small parts that sum the whole, that are the whole in themselves. My hands, listening to your hands, for example. In the morning, we may find essences of each other, and I, your marrow, shall be held by you. I lost my phone somewhere. Reminded me of losing you. I never feel more alive than when I am writing to you yesterday's poem. I would turn this flesh to arabesque for yesterday's poem. I looked at strangers with loss stricken as lightning and asked of them silently for yesterday's poem, and tonight I can be your harlot, your confidant, your very marrow, but I go back to where I laughed, to see the residue, to ask, you ever change the colour of your hair? Ever change the colour of your hair? It'd be harder for me to recognise you, easier to imagine you afresh. I would still be woven into iridescent strands, mahogany with growing rings that curl into caramel, cut short, grown long, left listless, split ends, speak something browner than the earth on which I met you. Deep barren caves of coffee bean mornings I woke in your umber, calligraphic locks, a surah from the Quran written between the curls of my chest hair and your lit soul, burning brown while you slept. Talk to me of God. I dare you. There is more meaning in the fluff upon your head than the words I glean from a sleeping deity, so talk to me of God, who rests in your shadow, knowing and waiting. In deed and in thought, my submission to you is total. It is an eyelash upon an eyelash, upon a resting pair of noses, and lips that know no borders nor bounds. You ever change the colour of your hair? It'd be harder for me to recognise you if you change the colour of your hair. Easier, though, to imagine you afresh. There is no other problem like you. A multicoloured blur, or call it a smear, or call it a cacophony of rainbow. brass upon scarlet red. Call it brass upon scarlet red. I am unsure if you deserve this. Call it aquamarine upon the flesh pink of your lips. I am imagining that you do not deserve this, because it would be harder for me to recognize you if you changed the color of your hair, if you simply weren't the person that you are. What if I just want to see her? To look at her for a very long time. I just want to see her, to look at her for a very long time, as if she could turn to stone outside my bedroom window. Have the ivy of the hour trace her newly minted form entombed. Well, that's what memories are for. So unreliable, though. Trapped in the morphology of desire, the silver swirls that turn a night into a lifetime of utterly perfect you astride moonbeams. You, the decoration of the skies, the hem of the universe, the all-enclosing, the omnipotent now, speak to me of memory, and my wish simply to see you and to look at you for a very long time. If only there was a you in the present to whom I could tie these somber yesterdays. Soak through a heavy unwrung sponge holding itself in, trickles from its many mouths, the same water I saw you bathe in, clean skin in, become pristine, preen-scented spins of rose, heavy other smells too. Not just the visions. I would inhale for an epoch if I could. You in my nose. I want to smell your imminence at the close of a hallway that I can never reach the end of. Take me there. As patient as the seasons must be to wait their turn to wreak their magic, I am a room awaiting your fill. Patient for your step and scent, I am an empty room without you, learning how to fill itself again, all over again, all over again. This is yesterday's poem, all over again, all over again. Your arms, delicate as they are, rough as would be to touch, are absolute, are omnipotent, are street signs, shoelaces, artworks of the ordinary. They are tangled warrens marking the uninterruptible silence that we do not touch. A moon of mute ideas hushed in craters. Here where you cannot reach, I am here. Here where you cannot reach, I am here. Here where you cannot reach, I am here. Behind the silence that reminds us of the luminous, even at the depth of night, especially at the depth of night, right behind this moon. I write behind this moon. Right behind this moon. I write behind this moon. Every time I find a new birthmark on my body, I am reminded that we are constantly being born. And this one I could name after you. You have been the roads in this time, carrying with movement alive in the veins. You have been to the trees, canopies for sunlight and canopies for rain. You have been the orchestras, a union of strings plucked and bowed, caressed and run roughshod. You have been the architecture, the expression of building and the crosses of shapes. You have been to the colours, the lens and the frame and the subject in one, and now you must only be a small birthmark on my body. The broad scope of references that feed my solitude are indefatigable. You are New York, Paris, London, Berlin. Your definition by virtue of your habitation, your visitation, or even your desire. Your congruence with the landscape is massive. Your face and the letters of street signs, the masterful curves of architecture, your weight-bearing shoulders, the bobbing skyline, your brow furrowed and lifted in wonder, awe, confusion, my aching feet. My aching feet ache more with the knowledge that every direction is away from you. The arms held down with weight could lay roots into the ground, but drag on pavements, for how can I imagine a settling without you planted beside me? I am only open ears to the music and melodies that match the swelling of your eyes when we talk. This is the unforgettable sound of gazing into you and having you gaze into me. I allow memory as a flood. I am not breathing. I am not breathing. I am not breathing. Memories that fill my lungs that I must sputter out of me in coughs and fits and starts and broken parts and more cigarettes than I want. This is a life underwater, a life without the clarity of the sun's light or the moon, the many-faced moon that has yours whenever I see it, but I do not see it and I will not see it, and that is a promise that I simply do not understand. It is a promise I follow while my brain fills to the overspilling brim with salt and water, while my eyes burn to see you. I promise that I will not, and hope always that it is the right promise to make. I lost my phone somewhere and it reminded me of losing you.
Woo!